Hello, everyone. This is just a quick update kind of notion. I've been away from my bench for a while, but I'm working on this chopper as seen in these drawings here. And here are the knives that I recently made at the New England School of Metalwork. This clip point most recently. And before that, this drop point. With a patina that I said was not long for this world, but has in fact remained and developed. And I kept these were sat here, and I kept them here because I thought that they would be of interest and of note. So just the other day, a couple of days ago, I took possession of this Spyderco, what's it called? Mule team. So they make, for anyone who isn't familiar, and everyone who's listening probably is, not for me to speculate, in fact. Anyway, so the deal is Spyderco make this pattern in a whole load of different steels. I think for every steel they've ever used, or at least every steel that they use in current day, they've made one of these. And it just comes like this. They also sell scales for it, so you can fix your handle aftermarket, or you could wrap it with paracord, use it as is, what have you. And this one is in the CPM 15V with the big brown bear, and it's a factory second, and I think I can very clearly see why it's a factory second. Just that thing there, right? Which does not affect functionality, but it is certainly a disaster from the fit and finish point of view. No fit anyway going on, but from the finish point of view, they fudged it. So just holding this in my hand, I felt like, this, I love this blade. This blade looks great to me, and I'm sure I'm going to like the steel because I have some Spyderco knives in CPM 15V, which notably is now discontinued. So therefore, when I saw this come up on eBay, I just snapped it up instantly. And so yeah, feeling my way around it, I started thinking, well, I feel like I would like a different handle than what this would end up with, however you set it up, and so it has this quite an aggressive kind of forward rake, as it were. If this is your line of your hand, it gives you this very aggressive forward rake, which is a good thing and of use in many aspects, particularly I think in the self-defense, because and I was watching a really great video from Rolando Estocado explaining this, right? If I take this knife and I have my wrist in its natural strength position, right? Because once you start doing this, you lose all the, well, not all, but you lose a lot of the strength from your wrist. Maximum strength is the same as if you're throwing a punch, right? You want your wrist straight like this. So this knife, gripped like this, it doesn't stab, right? Which made me realize, ergo, that's the whole deal with the saber grip, right? Meaning, you can use this knife, obviously, for self-defense in various ways. However, this one, with this kick on it, held in the same neutral position, now, actually, the cutting part is coming forward of the fingers, and certainly, actually, if you were to grip it back here like this, okay, now you're definitely stabby, right? With your wrist in this straight orientation. So let's look at these. This one looks wrong. However, notably, apparently a lot of Bowie fighters use a reverse grip, right? And so actually, if you grab this in a kind of a reverse grip, you're kicking that out a bit. Anyway, the application would be different for every knife. How you would apply it in any circumstance, whether that's self-defense or whether you're whittling a spoon or whatever you're doing. And this one also has some of this forward kick, right? So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just, if you look at this and you see how this handle is, these handles are comfortable for my hand, right? And I suspect that this one, done up right, it would be comfortable, because one thing is also comfortable as in you grab it and you're like, oh, that feels good in my hand. Another thing is when you're using it. Anyway, long story short, you can kind of see what I drew in here. With the notion of regrind and a rehandle. And so that is the drawing that I came up with of what I would like to achieve with this knife. And effectively, I would say I lose nothing, right? Because for the use and application of this knife, what I would be left with in terms of tang is more than sufficient for this. I'm not going to break this tang by taking all of this off. And I'm not going to have a hammer pommel or anything on the end there necessarily. I suppose I could do something actually still, but this is the shape, so forget about that. I mean, it would kind of look cool maybe making pins in all these different shapes and sizes and banging them through there, but actually that was just to kind of verify that that's the shape I could obtain, right, of a handle, fully enclosed tang, right? And this, in my imagination, is black, kind of matte black, this handle. Just with nothing more to it, no washers, no pins visible, no nothing, just so I've ordered some micarta. This might be the first time I've actually purchased micarta online, and I got two different kinds. I got black linen micarta and black paper micarta, so I'll be able to pick which one I think will best suit the project. And in comparison to this chopper thing that I'm working on, this actually ought to be an absolute doddle, right? Because, I can get this ground and finished to how I want it in an hour, I reckon. I have also considered taking out some of the belly, but I could always do that later, but make it a little more Warncliffy, just a little more slim overall. And removing this over here would be because certainly I would want, that is one thing, a collar here. That will make this super strong. It will also hide this blemish. That will disappear. And then this can be ground flush. And so because of that curve there, and also I just think it'll be better just to remove a bit of that steel. Again, this is 15V. So with whatever's remaining there, yes, it will make it hypothetically that much easier to break down here, and Spyderco knives will break because of the hole along here, I suppose, and I have seen a photo of that having happened. But someone was using some brittle, it was like Rex 121 or something, and they snapped it. This, you would have to make a concerted effort. You would have to be like, I want to break this knife. And then that would fail you before the handle. So yeah, maybe it's, it's a little dangerous removing from up here some of that, because there would be a lot of strength retained in just what I'm removing. But I figure overall, for what I want to end up with, it'll be fine. And I'll be able to chop down a sapling with it and baton that in half and carve a spoon, and then, do whatever I want with this cool Spyderco pack mule team in 15V. So that's my presentation on that. Thanks for watching. Bonus round. This is a G96 Maker's Choice, Knife Maker's Choice that it's called. And it came to me with a very badly bent point on it. So the Knife Maker's Choice etch is gone, and we're doing a nice apple seed kind of convexy grind. And this G96, there is something of a question as to what steels they used, but very possibly this knife uses ATS 34, which is really cool. So, this compared to, I guess, a buck one, be more like a 112, huh? Or be a 110. Anyway, compared to a kind of buck lock back, I think this thing rates very favorably. Maybe we can just see what condition the edge is in. Yeah, good. All right, cool. G96. I recommend you look into G96 if you think you might like. It's a challenge to sharpen the steel. I think it's treated very hard, and they use these old school stainless steels that they are responsive to hard work. Put it that way. But so far, according to my testing, it's excellent steel. I should do some actual cutting tests with this knife, perhaps, and some half-inch Harbor Freight sisal rope, and maybe a couple of other knives, maybe this knife, and some other knives. Do some cutting tests. It's been a while. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.